Institutional DeFi is one of the biggest things happening in this market currently. A lot of people don't realize all of the steps that are being taken right now to achieve institutional DeFi at scale, and almost every single major bank is also on board of this train. And like I said, this is definitely one of the biggest things to focus on because institutional DeFi is going to bring in trillions of dollars. Why am I so confident on that? Well, look at what retail DeFi has done for crypto. I think right now, currently, the value on chain for DeFi is over like 200 some billion dollars. Yeah, that's just retail. So think about what happens when institutional players tap into DeFi protocols and they have, liquidity pools lined up, lending and borrowing pools as well. Like this could very well be the next big thing for crypto. And it could also be that big boom moment for crypto where it leads to mass adoption and it leads to not just, trillions, but tens of trillions of dollars being traded on chain. Because again, institutional DeFi, what this really is creating is a full-on market as well for tokenized assets, which we already know will bring tens of trillions of dollars on chain. Now, if we're thinking about this, back in February, Ripple did put out a post, and it was institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger. What's live and what's next? Now, within this, they gave us a full roadmap to really follow, right? Like they already gave us everything that's live on the XRP ledger, like for an example, the DEX, the CLOB, the AMM as well, the clawback, all of these great things that were really kind of coming to the XRP ledger, even decentralized identity as well. All of this is to support institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger. Now, what was upcoming? Well, here we have almost everything that we were looking at. So number one, the token escrow, account permissions, batch transactions, permission DEX, then quarter three, single asset vault, lending protocol, MPT DEX integration as well, and then to be announced for quarter four. This is all based around institutional DeFi at scale. Now, if we're thinking about this, we also got a big update, and this was on June 25th of this year, which was big unlock for institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger, the permission DEX. It will allow regulated players to trade on the XRP ledger's DEX using verified credentials, enabling KYC gated FX swaps, stablecoin flows, and more. And again, a lot of people are not paying attention to this, but this is one of the biggest things ever because the FX market is trillions per day. It's 7.5 trillion per day. It is a massive market, and it's one that I think a lot of people should be looking at, especially when it comes to XRP and what Ripple is building towards, which is institutional DeFi. All of the acquisitions, everything that we've been seeing from Ripple is to carve out a pathway to bringing the FX market on chain. Why do you think that there's almost 7 stablecoins already on the XRP ledger announced this year? It's because the FX market is becoming a reality. Now, again, within this, they did break down exactly what this will mean for the XRP ledger, what type of use cases we could, really focus on as well, and why this is the next step for the XRP ledger. It incorporates everything that institutional players need to trade on chain and bring tokenized things on chain to create a full-on market. It has KYC, it has the AML policies, it has everything that these players need for that compliance side, but then also the core components, which is everything that they talked about over here for institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger. You have that permission DEX, you have the permission domains, the credentials. They give us a full breakdown of the flow as well. This is all based on compliance. And the institutional use cases, well, the stablecoin and fiat FX swaps. This is with RLUSD on the permission DEX. This was telling us that RLUSD is going to grow on the XRP ledger while everyone was crying about how RLUSD is only being minted on Ethereum. Last time I checked, again, Ripple was building towards making sure that RLUSD grows on the XRP ledger. They don't care about Ethereum. They launched RLUSD and minted it mainly on Ethereum initially because Ethereum is the powerhouse around stablecoins at this moment. Not in the future, but at this moment. And then also you have the contractor and payroll payouts as well. This is another alternative cross-border FX rail. And then also cross-border payment B2B payments, and then corporate treasury as well. And all of this is for the XRP ledger. And then we also have broader compliance efforts on the XRP ledger. It means that they are going to be focused on these compliance features for the XRP ledger to make sure that institutional players will scale their use cases and tap into the XRP ledger in a much larger way. And even today, we continue to see more and more players moving on chain for institutional DeFi. All of the big banks, Northern Trust, for an example, the road to institutional DeFi. This was from June of 2024. Deutsche Bank as well. The road to institutional DeFi, June of 2024. Here we also have another one. This one was with JP Morgan, institutional DeFi, the next generation of finance. All of these big banks, all of these big institutional players want to move on chain with institutional DeFi. And what's even crazier about this is the XRP ledger only continues to innovate and get upgraded more and more to support this market. For an example, big shout to vet_x0 for this. Important institutional building block about to go live on the XRP ledger. Prerequisite for compliant usage. Credentials has 28 votes, yes. Close to go into activation timer among other fixed amendments. Credentials are a building block for permission, domain, and DEX. They enable the compliant use of the XRP ledger by institutions. Without it, the XRP ledger can attract those native users on chain directly. And yes, this is outlined in the permission DEX announcement. If we come back down here to credentials, secure and tamper evident way to represent information about a subject such as an individual, organization, or even an IoT device. These credentials could be issued by a trusted entity and be verified by third parties without directly involving the issuer at all. And that's why this is a very big piece of the puzzle, which Vet is outlined here as well, which I completely agree. It is going to be a big enabler for institutional players to line up for the XRP ledger use cases. And by the way, another clear confirmation that Ripple is in full support of this. Let's go over here to the institutional DeFi portal. In development, a platform to help financial institutions bring their businesses on chain powered by XRP and the XRP ledger. Discover blockchain use cases that deliver value to your business. Tokenize assets, enable XRP deposits, allow XRP trading. This is all for institutional clients. Again, this is like the craziest thing to really kind of look at. Now, this is coming soon. We don't have a lot of stuff to go off of, but we do know that this has everything built into it. Wallets, compliance, KYC and AML, custody, node operators, all that, and even supporting some of the biggest use cases for institutional players like tokenization, stablecoin use cases, payment use cases, anything that these institutional players want, they are providing with this portal. And even Jazzy Cooper said bringing finance on chain is still way too hard. It's complex, full of jargon, and scattered. We're building something better. Clear use cases, seamless onboarding, everything in one place. If you're building or exploring, we'd love your input. And this was back in March where they announced the institutional DeFi portal. This is this one-stop shop for everything around institutional DeFi use cases. And what's even crazier about this is they have an open role for the Ripple X side. This is VP of Partnerships with Institutional DeFi. And this is where we see the full breakdown of what is to be expected. In this role, you'll own the full institutional partnership lifecycle, from sourcing and closing high-value deals to activating and scaling them into measurable impact on the XRP ledger. You'll be responsible for developing Ripple X's most critical institutional relationships, including asset managers, tokenization platforms, and stablecoin issuers, while partnering cross-functionality to convert strategic intent into real-world usage, transaction volume, and ecosystem growth. This is a very big deal. Here's what you'll do. Own and evolve the end-to-end institutional DeFi partnership strategy for the XRP ledger, lead Ripple X's global partnerships organization, negotiate partnerships with asset managers, tokenization platforms, stablecoin providers, build and maintain trusted executive relationships with institutional partners, partner closely with product engineering and legal to ensure partner requirements are actionable, compliant, and integrated, drive measurable growth in tokenized asset volume, market cap, and transactional flows, refine the operating model for this partnership organization, identify and prioritize new growth opportunities as well. So this is a very, very big deal. And I do think that this is telling us they want to scale DeFi on the XRP ledger in a big way. And confirmation of that, well, David Schwartz, Ripple's CTO, told us this back in February as well, right around the same exact time that we were witnessing all of those key pieces coming together for the XRP ledger. Here we have David Schwartz explains Ripple's current strategy to implement the necessary primitives to the XRP ledger for institutional DeFi that will lead to the inevitable consumer-facing retail use cases. Imagine a company issues stock on chain, and then is able to reward the stockholders with all the bells and whistles that blockchain offers, like rewards and incentives, or even shareholder voting. Check this out.
If you're holding $5 million in tokenized treasuries, the amount of margin that the issuer is making is microscopic. Your yield is microscopic, the margins are microscopic. So we're going to bring enterprises in for dumb reasons, like it saves them money, it's more transparent. They're not going to understand that it's going to do the same thing that stablecoins do. People use stablecoins for use cases that they could never use any other asset for. Like you can't use a non-on-chain asset as collateral for some DeFi application. And what's going to happen is they're going to learn that by tokenizing these real-world assets, all of a sudden they're going to realize that like they can target brand new use cases, brand new applications, brand new user base. So the strategy is to add the features necessary to get that enterprise adoption that paves the way for mass retail adoption. We're not going to see mass retail adoption of DeFi in the next year or year and a half because all of the DeFi applications are basically gambling. I mean, they're either recreational applications or gambling applications. If we want to take over finance, we need the really boring, I need a checking account, I need a savings account, I need a retirement account, I need a stock portfolio, I need sensible investments, I need the equivalent of certificates of deposit. We have to build all the boring stuff, and enterprises are what's going to make that possible. So the strategy is, over the next year and a half to 2 years, bring in the enterprises with these features around tokenized real. They're going to do it for dumb reasons. Some of them will be visionaries. Some of them will see this vision and they'll come to blockchains because they understand that it's like revolutionizing finance. But a lot of them will be here just because it's cheaper and faster and it works on weekends and it has these tiny little advantages that are better is better, right? If I go to you and I say I have something better, you don't have to believe me that it's going to change the world. It's enough for you that it's better. And then hopefully in a year and a half to 2 years, we can really turn that corner to sort of mass retail adoption.
So in about 2 years, we will be at mass retail adoption. And I think at this point, actually, it's about a year and a half. So we don't have to wait much longer on mass retail adoption. Now, I know for a fact, a lot of you right now are probably, kicking and screaming saying, oh, we have to wait another year and a half. I want you guys to understand that we're not waiting a year and a half for price action. That's the biggest thing that I feel like a lot of people misinterpret it, right? Like they think, oh, we have to wait a year and a half for, price action to catch up for XRP. And, it's again, another waiting game. No, we only have to wait a year and a half for mass retail adoption. We need to only wait a little while longer for the market to wake up in a much larger way for XRP to continue even higher. But this will continue to support XRP's price action. It will actually, the number one thing that I look at with mass adoption isn't so much about price increases. I look at it more as price stability. For an example, I don't think that we'll ever have to sell XRP at some point in time because the market will, stabilize completely, supporting the utility behind some of these assets like XRP. So I completely agree with what David Schwartz is saying here, right? Like over the next couple months and years, even going forward, they're going to continue to attract more enterprise and more institutional players that want to tap into the XRP ledger, tap into XRP as well for institutional DeFi. And I think that it's very clear that they are serious about this. It's not like they're just telling us what we want to hear. No, they have open rules to support institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger. They also have the institutional DeFi portal, which is supporting the XRP ledger and even XRP in a huge way to power these financial institutional use cases around DeFi, which will lead to trillions of dollars. I'm telling you guys right now, it's not, some sort of dream scenario of, oh, I hope that we get to trillions of dollars on chain. No, it's the fact that we will get to trillions of dollars on chain because of what institutions are doing right now. Most of what we see around the tokenized market is all institutional players. And just like I said in a recent video, it's all a testing ground right now. They're not giving us the full amount of money that they will move on chain. We are at the starting phase of this. By 2030, $16 trillion they're saying will be on chain. It could be much larger than $16 trillion, but the fact that we will be at that point when the market is barely scratching $4 trillion should tell you everything that you need to know about where this market is headed and where these utility projects like XRP will also be during that time. I'm very confident in the future around these projects and around these companies that are really embracing, everything that needs to be embraced right now to support and ultimately bring on all of these big players that will revolutionize the way that money is moving, how things work around traditional markets. all of these moves that these companies are making right now, like Ripple, are going to change the way that crypto looks in, you know, a year, 2 years, 3 years. This market it's so ripe for more growth. We are barely at the starting line for this market. And I want everyone to realize that, yeah, I know that we're tired of waiting. We don't want to wait. We're sick of the waiting game, but it's always worth the wait. We saw this even with XRP. Everyone was so frustrated with XRP leading into November of 2024, and then we went from 50 cents to $3.40, and we recently just hit $3.60 plus cents. The wait is worth it. It always is worth it. This really is a time in the market rather than trying to time the market game, and I really wish that more people would realize that and recognize the value of just being patient in investing, because again, these are investments at the end of the day. They're not, let me jump in on Monday, get out by Friday. I'm telling you guys, the long game here is so crucial to focus on. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, Nick, thanks for watching. Peace out.